What exactly is social media? A platform that was made to connect everyone around the world that predates many of its users' birth. This place was intended to help out so many people, and it became an outlet for many people. But over the following decades, we have seen the impacts and damages of social media. Now, for many of us growing up, we had a balance between social media, and for my case, I wasn't using social media up until the 7th grade. My first phone was a flip phone in the 6th grade. Now that I am 21 years old, I can now see why my parents purchased a flip phone for me. They were trying to prevent the inevitable. And as years went on, I grew up on Snapchat, Instagram, and especially YouTube. But for many children around the world, their cases are vastly different. Social media has become a large component of our everyday lives, and no one can deny that. To what extent is that impact negative? Well, let's list off some of the facts so you can decide for yourself. Fact 1. Social media has connected our world in ways we have never seen before. I remember when I was younger, I would have to go to the store and get a Boss Revolution card just so we could communicate with our family in Ghana. Now, WhatsApp exists, and with that app, we can easily text our loved ones all the way across the world. Fact 2. Social media is addicting, and the average American touches their phone at least 52 times a day. Now, my phone is currently dead, but I will show how many times I pick up my phone and show the analytics for that in my settings. But I pick up my phone so many times to the point where you would think I have an addiction. But on the contrary, most people wouldn't even think that because everyone else does the same thing. You honestly have to ask yourself, why do I pick up my phone so much? Why am I constantly notified about something? It's to keep you in a loop. Fact 3. Constant scrolling alters your brain chemistry. Well, if you don't believe me, feel free to look at this. Fact 4. Social media has changed many people's lives for the better. Whether we like to admit it or not, the internet is a great place for many people to express themselves and somehow make a living. And last but not least, fact 5. Social media is an amplifier. No matter what it is on the internet, it's like an echo chamber. If it's something people gravitate towards, it's spun around everywhere. Now, it can be positive, but more than likely, it's negative. Negativity breeds attention for some odd reason. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. You could do something great and put it on the internet and people will love you and appreciate your cause. With these 5 facts, social media seems balanced, and in theory, this seems like something we can use properly and not in an addictive manner. But that just is not the case for us. One of the most engaging emotions for everybody is negativity and anger. When you combine that with perception, that is a recipe for disaster. Because with perception comes ignorance. I'm sure many of you have heard of the term, comparison is the thief of joy. Now, what do I mean by that? On the internet, we love to compare. And why is that? When you are scrolling, many times throughout the day, you'll find people who are doing a lot better than you. Why is that? That is because social media and positive perception go hand in hand. Unfortunately, for many teens, they look at beautiful women and wonder why they don't look like that. Or they see a guy in great shape with women, cars, and all these riches and think that's the value of life. These 2 topics are just the tip of the iceberg of the damage that social media can do for our young people. But when you combine what I just mentioned with the addictive nature of these platforms, you can see how it's starting to destroy our youth. Depression and anxiety has skyrocketed due to the gratifying and isolating nature of these platforms like Instagram and Twitter. Well, that's just to name a few. Why do I have to play basketball with my friends on the weekends when I could just scroll on TikTok and watch a movie? Why do I have to hit the gym when everybody tells me my body is perfect as is? Why do I need to talk to my family when I can just scroll in my room and just order Uber Eats? Now, after you really internalize what I just mentioned, you realize how damaging social media is. These questions check out for a lot of us, and that's the hard truth about the internet. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is forcing us to use social media, but it feels like we have to. We always feel like we're missing out on the next great thing. Humans have been social creatures since the beginning of time. So why has social media changed so much for us? Why does social media have such a firm grasp on our lives? Well, that's because we are no longer forced to tolerate our neighbor. Back then, if you didn't like your neighbor, you still lived in the same village. You still understood that you were from the same place, and to some extent, you shared some common interest. The early internet has followed this old model of socialization. Communities weren't conflated by so many people. Social media at one point mirrored the real world. Nowadays, if you don't have the same perspective as another person on the internet, you are immediately ignored or demonized. Why is that? It's either you're with me or against me. This approach has kind of dumbed down people, and it sucks because we went from respecting people who share different opinions to just lacking class. For example, this guy. I won't get too much into politics because that's not my objective today. Now, despite everything I just said, these social media platforms have helped so many people gain opportunities and change their lives. Content creation. People have posted on these platforms since the early 2000s. At first, it was just to show their hobbies or just part of their lives. Over time, these platforms grew with their creators, and they began to pay their creators because they were able to. They could afford it. Major corporations started to see this. They began sponsoring these creators. And with this, content creation started becoming an actual job for people. They could actually pay their rent with these things. The more views you got, the more engagement you got. The more engagement you got, the more money you got. Apps like TikTok coming to the forefront have changed the game for so many people. People have found their own niches and grown their own businesses. People as young as 16, 17, 18, even 21 have built their own communities on the internet and have found ways to make money. I can say firsthand that the internet has helped me make a lot of money, and that's through selling clothes and starting a clothing brand. This ties back to what I said before. Social media is an amplifier. It's a place full of boundless opportunity, and everyone should at least try to use it positively. Even outside of content creation, social media has allowed people to learn new things and new facts that they can not only use in their own lives, but even tell their friends and family. Look, we have a limited perspective in our own individual lives. Everyone has their own social bubble, even in the real world, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not an issue to partake in different bubbles on the internet. There's so many upsides and positives to having social media. And I don't want you to think this video is to demonize social media. Social media is a great thing. The only real issue I see with the usage of social media is just how soon are you letting your kids use social media? And how often are you using it? Like anything else, if it starts at a young age, it becomes a good habit or a bad habit. Just like anything else, social media is damaging when it's not used in moderation. If you ate 10 brownies in one sitting, you would probably get sick. You should look at social media the same way. You should not be on TikTok for at least 2 hours plus. You should be doing other things. You should explore the real world. You should touch some grass, as they would like to say. Know what's good for you and what's not good for you. Again, I want you to understand that I'm not making this video to ridicule anybody. I still struggle with screen time. I'm not perfect, but I'm old enough to fully understand just how damaging it can be to consistently use social media. Overall, I do think we should not demonize the internet. We shouldn't demonize all these different apps, but we definitely shouldn't ignore the damaging effects that these platforms and these algorithms have on us, especially when it comes to the younger generation, the most impressionable generation. Now, if we consistently keep these things in mind, things should, in theory, turn out for the better. Like I mentioned before, we've been social creatures since the beginning of time. This video won't stop people from going out there and enjoying their lives. And it definitely probably won't stop people from doom scrolling and being addicted to these apps. All I'm saying is that we need to be aware of how damaging social media can be, but we should also be able to acknowledge the beauty of these platforms and how important it is for us to express ourselves. We shouldn't use this one way. We should be able to go out there and post what we like, build our own communities, enjoy the good things. We should take the good with the bad. That's what I want you leaving this video thinking. I'll take the good with the bad when it comes to using social media and these platforms. If you feel like you need to, take a break. I can say firsthand, it really helps. Sometimes you need to take a step away from whatever it is that you're doing that's taking up too much of your time. But yeah, that's the point of this video. I'm just spreading awareness on how damaging social media can be, but I don't want it to be a one-sided thing. I want you to understand that social media is also beautiful and it can change your life. Thank you for watching.